Hey guys, Dino here, back for a beer tasting of one of my own beers. This one's a little bit different. I'm looking forward to opening it up, but I'm also, on the other hand, quite nervous about opening it up and tasting it. And the reason for that is it's an experimental beer. The style's not experimental, but the method is. I did an all grain, no boil beer. So basically I missed out the whole boil step, just did a 60-minute mash and added the hops to the mash. But what I'll do is, before I open it up and we have a look at it, I've got a tiny amount of footage. It's also going back to sort of old school stovetop brew days. I just did a small, ended up with 6 litre batch, so rather than getting all the gear out in the garage and setting that up, I just did it on the stove. So anyway, we'll flick over to that footage, and then when we come back we'll crack it open and yeah, find out what we actually ended up with. So see you shortly, guys. So I'm just going to do a 5 to 6 litre batch. So I've got a kilo of ale malt, 100 grams of biscuit malt, some 100 grams of roasted wheat, some 50 grams of light chocolate, and I'm going to use up the rest of my Pacific Jade. So it's going to be a bit of a made up sort of brown ale. And over here I'm just getting up 4 litres of water, just getting it up to about 75 degrees Celsius, and then I'll be putting in all the grains. Okay, so I got the water up to 75 degrees and I've added the grain, which has dropped the temperature down to just under 70 degrees. Now, in the article I read, 70 degrees is enough to pasteurize the grain if you're not doing a boil, but it's under the threshold where DMS will be produced. So, yep, so that's it. I'm basically just going to mash this for 60 minutes, but because I'm not doing a boil, I'm going to be putting in 5 grams of the Pacific Jade at the beginning. So that's going to add the bittering to the beer, and then I'll add the rest of the Pacific Jade probably in the last 10 minutes of the mash. So yep, we'll take the thermometer out and chuck the lid on and we'll let that mash for an hour. And so I finished the 60-minute mash with hops added at the start. So yeah, I put, I think it was 5-6 grams of Pacific Jade at the beginning, so that was in there for 60 minutes, and then in the last 15 minutes I had another 15 grams of Pacific Jade left over, so I added that just to, I guess, just to get flavour from the hops. So what I've done is I have tipped the entire contents of the saucepan into this grain bag, and it's just been draining into the fermenter. And I've been sparging with 70-degree water, and I'm just trying to decided to go for 6 litres. So yeah, so I might put the camera down while I do the sparging, and yeah, we'll come back at the end. Just about finished. So I ended up getting 6 litres into the fermenter, and here's a hydro sample of the beer. So with the correction for the temperature, I ended up with 1.050. It's looking very murky in there. I'm actually going to put the fermenter in the fridge, get it down to pitching temperature, and then I'm going to pitch half a packet of this yeast in there. So yeah, that's pretty much it done, guys. Next time you see me will be when I taste the beer in probably 3 weeks' time. Thanks for watching. Okay, so we're back. So yeah, as you would have seen, it was pretty basic, just a 60-minute mash. Did a couple of additions of hops in the mash, one at the beginning at 60 minutes, and then I think the other one was near the end at about 15 minutes from the end of the mash. I suspect I didn't add enough hops in there to get any real bitterness or flavour, but we'll crack it open anyway and see what we come out with, what we end up with. So wish me luck. Okay, so we've got a bit of hiss, so it's carbonated. It's been in the bottle for a couple of weeks now. So, oh yeah, it's definitely carbonated up. Although it has got roasted wheat in, so it's probably going to produce a pretty decent head. Hopefully, he says, as he pours it up. Okay. Okay, so there it is there. It's looking, it's definitely looking brown, quite a dark brown. Now you would have seen in the video the sample was quite murky. Yeah, I didn't, obviously there was no hot break, there was no boil, and also I cooled it down in the fridge. I didn't use a work chiller, so there was no cold break. So yeah, this is it here, but it looks okay. I guess that's a good start, and it's holding a nice little head on the top. So yeah, it's got the biscuit, chocolate malt, the roasted wheat, which I've never used before, so it'll be interesting to see how that comes through, and the ale malt, and then just some leftover Pacific Jade. So we'll get a nose on it, guys. Cheers to you all. Wow. I was not expecting that. Coffee. I'm getting big hits of coffee off the top. A nice coffee aroma. And I'm thinking, is that down to the roasted wheat, or is it a combination of the roasted wheat, the chocolate, and the method? But it's a very, very nice coffee aromas. Yeah, very inviting. Yeah, so there's like coffee, there's roast, and that's pretty much all I'm picking up on the aroma. So let's dive in, guys. Wish me luck. If you see me keeling over to the side, yeah, dial the police or something, or an ambulance. Wow. Okay, the first thing I should say is that I had very, very low expectations going into this beer, very low, especially with just throwing in some random ingredients and the low amount of hops, but it actually tastes pretty good. I do detect some bitterness. Quite low, quite subtle, and then I'm getting that coffee, yeah, coffee and chocolate on the taste as well. I'm really surprised. It's not like any other beer I've ever made. I've only ever made one brown ale, the Columbus Brown Ale, but it's actually a decent drop. Wow. It's pretty carbonated. It's probably more carbonated than I thought it would be. Yeah, the head's sticking around nicely. It's still pretty murky, but it's a brown ale, so you know I can live with that. But it's yeah, my mind's trying to work out what's going in here. I might actually pause the camera. I have a few sips and then I'll just come back for a final. Just poured out the rest of the bottle, but yeah, still looking good. Yeah, so after having a few more sips, and I also went away and had a bit of a look up about roasted wheat. So it does impart apparently some nice coffee and chocolate. So yeah, I'm definitely getting the chocolate. There's a lot of coffee and also the chocolate. So, but yeah, really good. I mean, you know, it's crappy weather out. It's sun shining, but it's cold, and you know, that's why I thought I'd go for a brown ale. It's just hitting the spot. Yeah, just loving the biscuit malt. I think not really picking it up, but I think it gives the beer a bit of a dry finish, and getting that. So yeah, it's got a nice dryness to it as well. It did attenuate or finish quite low. I think it was 1010 or maybe 1008. So yeah, quite low. It's about 5.5%. And just on the back of doing this experiment, I did exactly the same experiment but with a different beer style, and that's in the fermenter at the moment. And I've done a pale ale, and I've used the new Brooklyn hops, so I'll be very keen to see how that one comes out on the back of this brown ale. So yeah, if you ever tempted to give it a whirl, yeah, I'd say go for it. You know, I had the hops. I think I spent $10 to make the 6-litre batch, so you know, to me it was minimal risk. You know, if you don't have a lot of time, it took an hour, you know, hour to do the mash, and then pretty much everything else was clean up and cooling the wort down. So okay guys, hopefully I didn't miss anything out. If I have, just chuck us a question or a comment, and yeah, we'll catch you next time. Cheers guys, thanks for watching, over and out.